Okay, a big warm welcome for me. As I say, if you're here for the first time, it's great to have you with us. If you've been here for many, many weeks and many, many years and possibly centuries like Simeon here, then it's also great to have you with us. Pastor Liam is in Destiny Munich today. As many of you probably know, we've made some changes in the last few months. We have 3 locations here in Germany, as well as Prague. And in the last couple of years, with everything that happened, Destiny Munich is the one church that I guess really suffered, and it was difficult through COVID. We had a great group of people there before COVID happened. We're gaining some great momentum. God was doing some fantastic things with us. And then COVID hit, and because of the size of venue, we simply were not able to meet. So Destiny Munich met only online for almost 2 years. And now we've got back into meeting physically on a Sunday morning. And it's my pleasure to be the location pastor there. So I'm leading every single Sunday morning, and God is blessing us. So this morning, I'm here. Liam's in Destiny Munich, and the kids are in Destiny Rosenheim. So we're covering all bases. Yeah, we'll be fine. So Pastor Liam sends his regards, he sends his blessings and his love to you all. I want to share with you a great word today. You know, sometimes when I'm preaching and teaching, there are sometimes words that you think, oh God, do I really need to share this with the church? I don't want to really challenge them. I just want to go and bless them today. And sometimes those challenging words, I do it because I'm obedient, but I really like it when I've got a word that is a word like today, which is an encouraging word. And if you want a title for my word today, it is, with God, all things are possible. My key verse from Matthew 19, with men, this is impossible, but with God, all things are impossible. A few years ago, as a family, we had an opportunity for the first time to travel to America. Now, we'd never been to America before. Woohoo! And we actually went exactly to where Pastor Daniel and Megan are today on their holidays. We went to their hometowns. We even went to the actual Chick-fil-A that Megan loves. And when we got there, we actually asked the staff, do you know her? And they went, oh yeah, she's in here all the time, but we haven't seen her for a while. We're like, yeah, we know why. And we had a great couple of weeks in Florida, and then we went up to Atlanta, Georgia for a weekend to do some leadership training. And so we flew back from Atlanta, Georgia to Munich. And we were sitting waiting in the airport in the British Airways lounge. And they just kept saying the same thing. If anyone would like to upgrade, we still have business class, we still have first class. And they just kept saying it over and over. And you were like, yeah, okay, we get it. Shut up. You know, none of us have got the money. Shh, just let it go. And of course, my kids are going, what's an upgrade? Oh, Mom, what's that? Can we do that? Can we? I was like, no, guys, it's really expensive. And I said to my daughter, Cami, who must have been 12, I think at the time, 11, I said, the only way we'll get an upgrade, I said, is if you go and pray, because the only way it's going to happen is through God. It's only possible with him. So she kind of looked at me. She said, Mum, I need to go to the toilet. So off she went to the toilet. While she's in the toilet, we hear this message. Could Family Smith please come to... Oh no, I'm thinking, what have we done wrong? Sorry, the flight's been cancelled. We won't take you home. Went up to the counter. We just wanted to let you know you've been upgraded. And literally, as Cami came round the corner from the toilet, Dylan, my son, went running to her saying, we've been upgraded, we've been upgraded. She said, I was in the toilet praying. I was praying. And even to this day, we have a family joke that if you really want your prayers answered, you need to ask Cami to pray for you in the toilet. There's a special anointing there. And you know, my testimony is this, that having been saved and following God for, I don't like to say this, but it is true, for 40 years this year. I know you can't believe it. I know I look 21. Thanks. Mahendra, I love you, love you. But I have been walking with God for 40 years. I gave my heart to the Lord when I was 5. And my testimony is that with God, all things are possible. God's grace, God's mercy, they have never deserted me. They've never departed. And I've lived a life that I would never have imagined I would have had half of the opportunities I've had, and it's been through God. It's all because of him. And if you just follow him, you can have a life of adventure and blessing. However, I also have to be honest, because I'm teaching today, that I've not always found myself in a place where I've thought everything's great here. I've had doubts. I found myself in circumstances and situations where somehow the challenge, the mountain, the situation in front of me somehow seemed so big that I've sometimes doubted my own abilities and also God's. I've thought, God, where are you in this? What are you saying? What are you doing? And what I want to share with you today is 5 of the biggest lies and criticisms that will come your way as a Christian. And more importantly, what God's word says in response to these lies and criticisms. So, as always with me, we're going to go back to an Old Testament story, which just exemplifies this perfectly. It's in Nehemiah 4. And here in Nehemiah, the Jews, along with Nehemiah, have started to rebuild the walls of Jerusalem. They were desolate, they were in ruins. Nehemiah was so deeply concerned that he gave up his job to come and do the building work. And this is where we find them. They've started to build, they've started to make progress. And Nehemiah 4 says this, when Sanballat heard that we were rebuilding the wall, he became angry and was greatly incensed. He ridiculed the Jews, and in the presence of his associates and the army of Samaria. And he said, what are those feeble Jews doing? Will they restore their wall? Will they offer sacrifices? Will they finish it in a day? Can they bring the stones back to life from those heaps of rubble, burned as they are? And Tobiah the Amorite, who was outside, said, what are they building? Even a fox climbing up on it would break down their wall of stones. And this man comes and he ridicules and belittles Nehemiah and the team. And each of his criticisms, in each of them, we can see some of the challenges that we also face. And let me just say this, that sometimes these criticisms and lies, they do come from the devil, but they can also come from other people, and they can also come from within. They come from our own doubts, our own insecurities. So what's the first one? The first one, he says, what are those feeble Jews doing? They look weak. They look incapable. And you know, what we sing in church here is very important to us. And as pastors, we often talk about songs that we're singing, and we discuss what we sing during our praise and worship. And I don't know about you, but in recent years, sometimes I've heard Christian songs, and I've kind of stopped and thought, what are they singing? They're not actually even singing any praise and worship to God. I'm like, we're singing to each other about our emotions, about what I feel and what I think. And I sometimes thought, I can't sing that. It's just rubbish. That's not praise. It's not worship. It's not thanks. The word says we should enter into his gates with thanksgiving and praise, enter his courts with praise. And I thought, that's not praise. And there's a particular song that Pastor Liam absolutely hates. I'll warn you now, so you never sing it to him. Didn't the worship team do such a great job today? Guys, I've got to personally thank you. The worship that these guys are doing here, we are using in Destiny Munich and also in the Destiny Rosenheim English-speaking meeting. So the little message, which Maria did so perfectly today to say, welcoming our friends who are joining us, we are literally doing that every single week. So thank you guys for your service. We love you. We appreciate you. But this particular song was probably popular back in the 90s, and it's by one of my most favorite worship leaders, which is called Matt Redmond. And the song is called Heart of Worship. Do you remember this song? I'm coming back to the heart of worship, where it's all about you. Now, there's nothing wrong with the song in particular, but the reason that Liam doesn't like it is because the song is talking about a personal journey that Matt Redmond had with God, and Liam doesn't identify with the journey. That wasn't his experience, so he's singing something that for him is not true. And he particularly hates the start of the second verse, where it says, though I am weak and poor. Now, if you listen to the whole song, you will hear that what Matt Redmond is trying to express is, though I was in that place, everything I have is because of you, God. Everything that I am is because of you. And it's a good sentiment, it's a good heart. But for me, growing up in Scotland, I did very much feel that as a child and a teenager, I was in quite a negative culture. Because in Scotland, if you were a Christian, then you should walk around in cheap clothes, drive a cheap, pretty rusty old car. You also would have a big black Bible, and you'd walk with your head like this, because we're holy, poor Christians. So there would be no flashiness, no nice car, no real blessing, just we're poor, weak, quiet, humble Christians. And we're quite boring too. And yet what we see in the Word is you see Abraham, a very rich man. And what does the Word say? He is blessed to be a blessing. He's not poor so he can be poor to everybody else. He's blessed so that he can extend that blessings to others. And yes, while everything that we have today is because of God, because of his goodness, because Christ died on the cross, but God has given you things to bless you. God's given you talents. God's given you abilities. And he wants us to use them to bless others. In Philippians 4, it says, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. Galatians 2, I have been crucified with Christ, and it is no longer I who live, but Christ who lives in me. And the life that I now live in the flesh, I live by faith in the Son of God who loved me and gave himself up for me. We are not incapable or weak today. Even when you don't feel strong, you're still a gifted, unique creation in God. And no matter the challenges, I want to encourage you today, God's grace ensures that you will never be put in a situation that's too much for you. He knows your limits. He knows when it's too much. And his grace and favor is not just to give you blessings that, oh, well, you have a nice car, but it's also to help you walk through life, dealing with every challenge, dealing with every situation, that his hand is there holding you like a great father that he is, letting you learn lessons. Yes, we all need to learn stuff. We all need to experience stuff. But his hand is always there just to keep you safe, just to keep you in that good and blessed place. I'll give you a tip today. It's not a particularly holy one, but it's something I heard and I love it. Has anyone heard of the superhero pose? Yeah? The superhero pose is something that they have now done studies on. And it simply is this, that if you have something to do and you feel challenged, you might feel nervous, you might feel uncomfortable, standing for 2 minutes in the superhero pose before you do it, you are more likely to succeed and be confident. Anybody want to know what the superhero pose is? That's it. And it's actually studies have shown, apparently surgeons in particular do this. They stand before the table, 2 minutes, remembering who they are, the gifts and skills that they have, the abilities that they have, and they say to themselves, I'm going to save a life today. I'm going to be a superhero. How about doing that tomorrow in work before you've got a presentation? Can you imagine in Adidas standing outside the conf? I'll be in 2 minutes. Yeah? In the hospital. I'll be there in 2 minutes. I'll save them. Don't worry. Just give me 2 minutes. Apparently it's true. But you know what? In Christ, you're a superhero. In Christ, you are not an average Joe. You are not an average person. You are not just like anyone else in the street. You are favored and blessed. And you can walk into any situation this week with your head held high, with your arms flung back, with a cape blowing in the wind. Whatever you need, God will be with you and God is for you. Secondly, the criticism comes that they are selfish and vain. What are they doing this for? Are they doing it for themselves? What's the point? And you know, often in church circles, there can be a misunderstanding of what it actually means to be humble. So often I hear Christians saying, oh, well, you know, it's just little old me. You know, I'm not important. I'm not significant. I'm just really a little worm, a little caterpillar. That's just me. I'm just small in God's great creation. But that's not actually what the word teaches. When you actually look at the word, when the word humility is used, or being humble, a better translation would be harnessed strength. In other words, choosing to bring your life, your gifts, your abilities under God's authority, under his care, choosing, if you like, as a horse takes on a bridle, to be harnessed in that way, to say, God, I don't want to live without you. I don't want to live without your guidance. I could do it, but I'm choosing to bring myself under your authority. And in that way, you are making yourself humble. And there is great strength in it. There's awesome power in it. And I don't know about you, but sometimes the criticisms sometimes come maybe from just a look. When you catch someone and you think, you didn't say anything, but I can tell by your look what you're thinking. Husbands and wives do it really well. And sometimes you maybe overhear things, something you're not meant to hear, and you think, oh, that's a criticism. Oh, it's uncomfortable. I had, a few years ago, one of our female leaders, who I know very well, called me and she said, Fiona, can I just talk to you about something? I need a little bit of advice. I said, sure. She said, for the last 3 weeks, when I walk into church, she says, there's 2 ladies, and for 3 weeks in a row, they are talking about how big my calf muscles are. I said, what? She said, they've been having a conversation. I walk by and I can hear them saying, oh, her calf muscles are really big. And I said, you're kidding me. And she said, no. Now, promise me, I probably have bigger calf muscles than she does. There's no question. And I said, but that's ridiculous. And she said to me, well, what do I do about it? I'll tell you what I told her. People always look. People always comment. You might see a sideways glance. Sometimes they're real criticisms. Sometimes they're ridiculous things. But you know what? You have a choice of what you let land in your life. Your heart, your soul, your brain is like an airport. There are things flying at you all day long, from Christians, from non-Christians, and it is your choice what you let land. It is your choice what you accept to take on. So, if you find something flying at you, big calves, you say, no thanks, sorry, not landing here. It might be something, it might be big ears, who knows. Whatever it is, you go, no, sorry, I'm not letting that land. You're weak, you're incapable, you're not going to succeed today. No, I am going to succeed, I am not letting that land. With God, all things are possible, and God's with you. Yeah, I'll take that. I'll take that encouragement. And we have that choice today to say, yes, I will listen. Yes, I'll take that on. Yes, I'm blessed by that. Or guess what? Sorry, airport's closed today. You're not getting in. It's closed. And if we can keep a check on our hearts, I often think of our hearts like a garden. Now, I'm really not a good gardener. I am not gifted in that area at all. But the one thing I know about a garden is, if you leave it for 6 months and then think, right, I'll go and do a bit of work in my garden, you've no longer got a garden. You've got a, how do you say in English, Wiesen? You've got a weed-filled, dirt-filled, animal-filled, countryside, forest, whatever you like to call it. You can't leave it for 6 months. It's something you have to regularly go back and check, regularly look after. And our hearts are the same. Keep a check on your motives. I know many people in business who, when you ask them, why are you in business? Why are you building that company? Why do you give so many hours of your time? And it blesses me to say that I know at least 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people who have said the same thing to me. Fiona, I do it because I want to make finance for the kingdom of God. I am building this business so I can give. And I have to say that the testimony I know from them is they give. So it doesn't matter today what you're building. It could be your marriage. it could be your family, it could be a business, it could be your career. When you do it to honor and please God, when you do it for his pleasure, for his kingdom, you'll be blessed. Go and be the best employee you can, and you'll be blessed and you'll succeed in it. Thirdly, the criticism. Will they restore their wall? Will they finish it in a day? Like, are they crazy? What are these people doing? They're wasting their time. There was this question mark over the complete absurdity of what Nehemiah was doing. Why is he doing that? What's the point? And you know, I remember the first time that Liam and I took a holiday outside of Europe. I seem to be talking about holidays today. It's because I'm going on holiday next week. My brain's already there. And we didn't have children at the time. It was the first time, instead of being in Europe or Spain or Greece or wherever else, we were in Mexico. And so for the first time for us, we were not in a majority of Europeans. There weren't a lot of Germans. There weren't any other British people. There was no Spanish people, no Italians. We were suddenly in the culture of, this is like little America, because everyone around us was American. And I have to say, for the first few days, sitting on the beach or lying by the pool, I noticed how friendly they all were. How within 2 minutes, they were all playing volleyball with each other, showing them tattoos and everything. They were like best friends. And I sat there on my sun lounger with my book, not talking to anyone. And I thought, that's really strange. And then a couple of nights later, we were on our way to dinner. And as we were walking past, actually, the pool area, down towards one of the restaurants, I heard this voice say, "Oh, wow, I love your skirt." Sorry, that was my best American accent. It's not very terrible, I know, awful. She said, "Oh, I love your skirt." And I thought she was making fun of me. I thought, what? And I walked away thinking, but then I suddenly realized she meant it genuinely. She genuinely likes my, I was, oh, thanks. You know, I was like, because where I come from, that doesn't happen. And it took Liam and I a few weeks to actually realize people were genuinely being nice. They were actually genuinely that positive. Now, I know all cultures and all countries have their positives and negatives, if you like, but it was a marked difference to what I come from. Because in Scotland, if you say you're going to do something, the response is, what do you want to do that for? Oh, that's been done before. Oh, for goodness sake, that'll never succeed. You don't have a chance. I mean, see, it's always glass half empty negative. But you know, the word says, in fact, in verse 3, it says, what are they building? Even a fox climbing up on it would break down their wall of stones. In other words, what they're doing is so weak and will never last. Even one little fox and the whole thing will fall apart. And so often we can feel that others are looking on thinking, what are they doing? That will never succeed. It's completely ridiculous. They have no chance. Why did they move to that country? Why did they go there? Why did they make that decision? And Romans 8 says, but what then shall we say to these things? If God is for us, who is against us? And the truth today is, if you are following Christ, if you have given your life to him and you're here right now, in this city, in this region, in this place, following God because you know it's God's plan for your life, then you can stand with confidence and faith today. Whatever he's given you to do, the marriage, the family, the job, the business, whatever, he is for you and he is with you. We've sung it today. He is good. He is so good. And his grace is always there, always surrounding you. And you can stand in confidence to say, I know that you want me to succeed today, God. I know that you want to bless me today. And you know, get alongside faith-filled people who will say that to you. Get alongside not the doubters, not the people who criticize, not the people who question, but get alongside people who will encourage you in your endeavors. And if you identify today with what I'm saying, I encourage you, look at how you spend your time. Someone very wise once said that if you want to know what your future is, look at your friends. Because the influences you have in your life, the voices whether they're positive, whether they're negative, whether they're encouraging, will influence and shape your life. And I encourage you, choose to spend time with faith-filled people. Choose to spend time who are not going to criticize and question you, but people who are going to stand with you, pray with you, and encourage you. Amen? The fourth criticism they said, look at the mess, look at the rubble. What can come from this? What good can come from this situation? Why are you doing what you're doing when you can see there's such mess? Because the city of Jerusalem was in ruins. It was desolate. And perhaps you look at where you've come from and you only really see mess. You look at your childhood. Wasn't exactly a happy family. You didn't experience good parenting. Perhaps all you know of your parents is separation, divorce. You never saw actually what a good marriage could look like. And maybe for you, for generations in your family, there was only poverty. There was only struggling to make ends meet. It was always try, work harder. And you might say to me, okay, Fiona, it's okay for you, but you don't come from my background. You didn't live where I lived. You didn't see what I had to put up with as a child. But you know what, church today? That is the good news of the gospel. That's why we're here. When you give your life to God and you become his child, you become part of his family. You gain his inheritance. You come out from that physical family of yours and you stand in a different place today. Because you're born again, the Bible says you're a new creation. So regardless of your background, your future is based on that today. Your future, the blessings that God has for you are based on what he did, what Christ did, not what your parents did, not what your circumstances were. And you do not need to be a product of that. I'm always blessed when we have Pastor Bill Wilson with us. Pastor Bill Wilson from New York, at 3 years old on Christmas Eve, was left on a street corner. His mum told him to wait there because his uncle or someone would be there to pick him up. 3 days later, he was still sitting there on his own. And someone, God bless them, came by, picked him up, and took him into his family and cared for him. And today, till even this day, he pastors one of the biggest Sunday morning children's churches you can find. And having met him many, many times, he is one of the most humble, intelligent men I think I've ever met. And he now must be well into his 70s or his 80s, and he's still doing what he does. And one of the things that blesses me is that when he's here, and he often comes and teaches and preaches in the church, and we give towards what he does in New York, when he goes back to New York on the Sunday morning when he's there, every Sunday morning he's there, he goes back and drives a bus to go and pick the kids up. He's not some superstar mega personality. He goes back and he drives a bus back into Brooklyn. He's been shot multiple times. He still goes and drives a bus and picks kids up. Because he's not forgotten where he's come from, but it has absolutely changed his future. And he's such a great example of what you can do with God in your life, regardless of where you come from. Psalm 139 says that God created you, every detail of you. And it's our job as Christians to discover and become what he originally intended for your life. Andrew Owen, the senior pastor in Destiny, always says there is 2 great days in the life of a human. The day you are born and the day you realize why you're born, what you're here for, what's your purpose. The last one today. They say, can they bring these burnt stones back to life? From this rubble, they're not only fallen apart, but they're burnt. They're dead. And many people would say, well, you can't bring back that which is dead. In fact, in English, we have, I don't know if it translates to German, but in English we have a great saying that it ain't over until the fat lady sings. Do you know that one? Well, my Fiona Smith biblical version is, it ain't dead unless God says it's dead. And you know, for the first time ever this year, I had to prepare an Easter message. Now, I've been preaching and teaching for 20 years, but I've never actually before preached on Easter Sunday morning. And I thought, oh, okay, I can do this. I thought, right, okay, this is new. And you know, I don't know what everyone else thought about what I shared, but I completely blessed myself. I spent so much time researching into exactly what happened at the resurrection, how the stone, how big it was, the fact that it would be impossible for someone just to push it out the way and roll it. It wasn't this size, it was huge. The fact that the stone was so far away from the tomb where Christ's body was, that again, somebody of majestic proportions, a whole team would have needed to push that. I looked at the grave clothes, how those grave clothes would have had ointment on them, to the point where that body would have weighed nearly 90 kilos because of all the layers of bandages and ointment and everything they use in that burial process. So for someone then to be able to have just left them folded in a chair, it's amazing. I read about how the testimonies of all the people who saw Christ when he was raised from the dead, and it was overwhelming, even for the most unbelieving person. There's so much historical accuracy in what the Bible says. And you know, only Christ defeated death. Only Christ hung on that cross. And today, it is only God who holds the power of life and death in his hands. And I felt specifically to say today that just because something in your life seems dead, it doesn't necessarily mean it is. Someone here today, even this week, you said to your partner or friend, well, that's it, there's no more going back. They're out of my life now forever. And I don't know what relationship it is, but I feel to encourage you today to say it might not be dead. Don't dismiss what God has not said is dead. Don't let something go when you're not completely sure that God has told you to let it go. Be open just to see what the Holy Spirit can do. Finally today, this is what blesses me about this story. In Nehemiah 4:6 it says, even though after they'd heard all these criticisms, even though they'd heard them publicly dismissing them, telling them they were weak, telling them it was pointless what they were doing, Nehemiah 4, so we rebuilt the wall till all of it reached half its height, for the people worked with all their heart. With all their heart. I love the attitude. Who cares what they think? Who cares what the criticisms were? I'm going to choose not to be discouraged. I'm going to choose to keep on building. I'm going to keep on doing what God's given me to do. And I want to encourage you today, just keep working at that marriage. Keep working at those kids' relationships. Keep working in your job, doing the best you possibly can. Keep building that business. Keep studying whatever God's given you to do. Just keep doing it with all your heart. Regardless of the criticisms, regardless of the discouragement, he is a good God today. And with God, all things are possible. Amen. Let's just pray. You know, it might be the case today. I've talked quite a lot today about the goodness of God in our lives, and that when you've given your life to God, that you can stand in that blessing, that you can stand in that grace and favor. And it may be today, I don't know many of you in this room, it may be today that you don't know God, that you've never made that decision, that you actually don't know what it means to have a relationship with God. You might attend church, but there is a moment in every Christian's life where you decide to make Jesus your Lord and Savior. And it is a defining moment. There is nothing else like it in life. And it would be my privilege today, if that's you today, I'd love to talk with you, pray with you. If you have questions today, please come and talk to me at the end. It would be my privilege and my honor. Let's just pray. Father, I thank you today that you're with us and you're for us. God, you're such a good God. Father, the good news is truly good news. It's not average news. Father, it's great news. And Father, I thank you for every single person here today. Father, I thank you that your heart and your desire for them, their lives, their families, is to bless them. That they will be blessed so that they can bless others. That in every area of their lives, Father, I pray for this church. I pray health. I pray wholeness. I pray prosperity. God, I pray here, Father, there would be such testimony of your goodness and your grace, that the lives here would honor you and please you, God. And though challenges come, Father, though criticisms come, though the devil wants to destroy the good things you're doing, Father, I thank you that we stand in confidence and faith today because you are good. Father, I pray you'll bless the people today. Let your hand be upon us in Jesus' name. Amen.